Hey everyone, this is Anna Drake-Warshaw with the University Innovation Alliance, and I am here today talking with Christine Wittel. She's a graduate student at the University of Central Florida. She's studying exceptional student education. She's also a virtual teacher for exceptional students and is going to talk with us a little bit about her experience and advice supporting students in an online environment. Christine, hey, and thank you for being with us. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing as well as can be these days. So I understand that you're both a graduate student in exceptional ed, and you're an online instructor or resource coach, right? For I think you support second and third grade classrooms
and fourth grade. Second, third, and fourth grade students in reading. I support 10 Google Classroom right now with my teachers on top of being a grad student myself.
Wow, it's a lot. That's a lot, and it's a lot of screen time.
Yes, all day long.
So can you tell me a little bit about kind of what you study and what you teach, and also how it's changed amidst COVID?
Okay, well, I am studying at the University of Central Florida Exceptional Student Education. I have been online from the entire beginning of my program. I am down now to the last 3 classes. I will be graduating soon. Woohoo! But my program has always been online. I chose to go to school online as I am a teacher and I want to be able to go to school full-time and still teach full-time, and this gives me the flexibility to have the best of both worlds. As a teacher, I push in to classes and I work with small groups of students with ESC, exceptional students, and we work on their reading skills. Some of them are below grade level, some of them are about grade level, and some of them just need the extra push to get there. So we do work on improving their comprehension, their fluencies, and those skills in a small group of like 5 to 6 kids in a small group settings where they get their specific needs met. Everything's changed. Being a virtual teacher online, since before everything was there and the kids just had to come to class. Now being a virtual teacher due to COVID-19, we had to spend a lot of the first week getting the kids familiar with how to use Google platform and some of those things that as a graduate student, you already know how to do. But to think back to the beginning of those people that are starting out fresh for the first time, that need to learn how to navigate everything entirely, that's changed. And now getting some of the students I see, and some of them, it's hard to reach, or some of their families don't have internet. So I reach them in other ways through mail and phone and other ways.
Wow, that's incredibly important. Thank you. That's super important and hard work that you're doing. We really appreciate it. So what advice would you give students right now? Obviously, you have experience with many ages of students, your grad student peers, undergrad, since you've been one, and then also with younger students. What advice would you give students right now to help them do their best in an online learning environment?
Well, for any student, whether it is my own students or whether it's my family members that are undergrad students or myself, I would give them the advice to set up a clean and organized space for them to learn. I would set up the advice for them to do some goal settings, to think about what assignments you'd like to do first, how long you would like to spend on each assignment or class. And sometimes people get their eyes strained or they get frustrated, and people actually can only retain information for every 15 minutes. So they say that really people should only be studying for about 30-minute increments to fully gain the full experience of the knowledge that they're attaining. I'd think about collaborating with your peers and advocating for your own learning. You need to advocate because teachers can't be mind readers. The teachers don't always know what you do and don't understand. So being your own self-advocate, to email the teacher and say, hey, I don't understand this. This is very helpful for a teacher, and also for yourself, for you to get the advice and help that you need, and to also just try your best. Just try your best. Teachers understand, especially now with the COVID and this new change, that everyone is just trying their best to learn and to get in there.
That's great advice. Thank you. Thank you for that. So what about, you're also an instructor. What maybe tips or tools or strategies do you think you might share with us that could be helpful for other virtual instructors, especially those who are new to teaching in that format?
Yes. Well, I think for myself, this was a very new time going virtual. I never thought I was going to be a virtual teacher, but here we are in COVID. It's been a new learning platform. I feel like learning how to navigate all the different like platforms, making sure your students understand how to use the platform that your school is using is super important, whether it's Blackboard, Canvas, or Google Classroom. I think it's important for the students to understand how to use it. So as an instructor, you should model whether it's using a screencastify video and filming yourself, showing the screen, or making time to meet with your students to show them that way, and also holding students accountable. You need to make sure students are accountable, that they actually know how to complete their assignments and they can complete the assignments. And I feel like for myself as an exceptional student teacher, and I know that all levels of people are ESE, to make sure that you know how to use those extensions such as text-to-speech, or there's ways that can help those students that are switching virtual for the first time that need the extra push.
Right. So it sounds like be sure even before you're delivering course content that they know how to access that content, where it's located, how it's organized, and what resources are available for them.
Yes, that is important.
That is great. And I think great. So tell me more about online learning and what because you mentioned that you have done your entire degree online at UCF. Tell me more, and that you picked that for flexibility reasons as a teacher. Tell me more about what you appreciate as the benefits of online learning for you as a grad student, and also maybe ways that you think your students right now are benefiting from this not ideal or expected really situation, but perhaps different learning environment.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like I did my undergraduate years in person on campus. So switching now to virtual, at first I was hesitant. I was like, oh my God, I've only ever gone to school in person. But then I realized that as a teacher, I wanted to keep learning. A teacher, you're always a student first. But I knew that there was no way I could make it to class and still be a teacher. So I switched to online, which gave me the flexibility to be a teacher, to be a tutor, to do all these extracurricular things with my own students, and then still be able to benefit from my own learning online as well. I feel like things that I've noticed right now in my own students is that they've been able to produce and be more creative in their own learning during this time, as they've done like student-based projects. They've actually been able to focus as they have so much more distraction reduced at their home, as they created that little space where you're in your learning. As you see, you're in my home office of my learning space. So that kids as well as students, you can create your own space and there's not a lot of distractions that you find in a real classroom when you're in your own home and you have your own little quiet time to do your work.
Have you had any experiences or challenges with students who haven't been able to access that kind of space just because of different environments they're in? I know you mentioned technology issues. What advice do you have in those cases for faculty?
Well, I know that sometimes they call me, like some of my students also from Title I. I know that sometimes there is going to be multiple people in the home, like some people are parents that are going to school online. Some people are living with their parents and other family members. I think trying to come up with that schedule, that this is the hours that I'm going to be doing my class online, to try to incorporate and collaborate with your family to create that semi-close to distraction reduced setting that you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Try and kind of recreate parts of your school day.
It is. So I'm saying, like, we even have families that all the kids and all the students are using the same device, which I also know that happens as a parent. And as when you have kids and you're also being an online student yourself right now, it's trying to do that time management of who's going to use the device at what time to complete their work.
Yeah, that's incredibly challenging. That's a great point. So you also have family and peers who are graduate and undergraduate students who are navigating this unprecedented situation as a student. What are you hearing from them about what's challenging about this transition, especially those who are not as familiar with online learning throughout their degree program as you have been? And then maybe what advice are you giving them?
Well, I feel like a lot of my own like family members and even like peers that I've heard at school that are switching for the first time, a lot of them talk about how they miss that instant connections they got to have with their peers and their professors, where they were able to get instant answers and feedback. And now you have to wait, for the teacher to respond back to you. Everything's not as quick as possible. So if you don't understand something, you email the teacher on Monday and the project's due on Thursday, then you're like, oh my God, I haven't got the feedback. Where when I was in class, I could ask right away and the teacher would tell you Whereas now you have to like wait. That waiting period, I feel like, stresses a lot of people. I also feel like the period, if you don't understand something, you could talk to other people in your class or share ideas and form that collaboration connection piece, which now people miss online when you're doing it alone at your own pace. So the advice that I'd give to them, though, is that, to just be patient and to remember that sometimes professors are learning online for the first time, as well as students, the ones that had to transition. So we're all learning together, and that they will get back to you. And most professors try to be flexible, and to also just try your best. Just try your best to reach out to your professor, to your peers, to just try your best on the project. And that sometimes they just have to understand that everybody learns at a different pace. So whether or not your sister or your friend is mastering online learning and you haven't yet, just remember that we all learn and go at our own pace and our own time, so to not be too hard on yourself.
I think that's a great last point, that especially right now, that's good advice at any time, but especially right now when things are so different and new, in the way that we're having to learn, remembering to give yourself a little bit of grace and be patient with yourself, that it's not a normal time. So I think that's great advice. I'm glad that you're there to be able to give that to some of your peers and with those who joined us here. So thank you so much, Christine. I really appreciate your time and everything that you're doing, especially as a teacher and as a student. So thank you guys and gals and all sorts of folks who have joined us, and please feel free to comment or tweet at us if we can engage or answer any different questions, or if you have questions for us. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Christine, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, too.